Hello, welcome to Human Tech, a podcast about the intersection of humans and technology. My name is Guthrie. I'm here with Susan. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Guthrie.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
What's new with me? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna post this one. Probably we're gonna post it while I'm in Brussels or right after I've come back from Brussels. Right now, it's before I go to Brussels. So I'm going to Brussels next week to speak at the big Belgium marketing conference called, it's put on by BAM. It's called STIMA, S-T-I-M-A. So I'm all excited about that. Going to Brussels, which is a very nice city. And going to talk to them about the future of human technology interaction. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
So that's what's new with me. So I, for our episode today, I thought we could do a in the news. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, sure. That sounds fun.
I picked a couple of topics that have come across my news feed, come across my desk, as we used to say, and that I wanted to talk to you about and see what you think.
Yeah.
All right. So different topics. There's no connection between any of these except that they all came in my news feed recently. So the first one is this thing called defensive design. Have you heard that term before?
No, and you did explain it to me right before we got on the air.
Yeah.
But I hadn't heard of it before.
So it's a term that means that it's I think kind of a misleading term, but maybe not. But what it means is you design something so that people won't take a certain action. You know, like we talk a lot, and I know you've done a lot of reading on the research on choice architecture, and we've talked about that in some of our classes, and that's the idea that you design something to, like you have people opt in rather than having to opt out. You design so that it's more likely that people will take an action.
Right.
And this is kind of designing so that people won't take an action.
Yeah.
It's kind of
and so to me, the behavioral economist, I would call that choice architecture.
You would, but it's not. I don't know. To me, it's a little different. So for the classical example, there was an article about this that by Vox News this week, and the classical example is that you in New York City, in the subways, they have started putting instead of benches, where you would sit and wait for your train, they've started putting lean bars, L-E-A-N bars, these bar things that you lean against. And I will, when we post this podcast, I'll put a link to it so that people can see it. But yeah, the idea is that you don't want people sitting in the on the benches and hanging out in the subway. So if you put these lean bars, you can lean against it, but people won't be sitting on them, and it's not as comfortable as sitting, so people won't stay for a long time.
This is the human nice version of in the big cities they have the pigeon stoppers.
What's that?
Oh, you don't know it?
No, what's a pigeon stopper?
Basically, there are a series of spikes to keep pigeons from standing.
That's right. I think they talk about that in this article. So that's an example of defensive design for pigeons. It is. So other examples are like, and I think all these examples in the Vox article were from New York, but I've seen this in other cities too. Like park benches that have armrests in, it'll be a long park bench, but then there'll be armrests. Yeah. And that's so that it's really hard to lie down. Like you can't lie down because they don't want people lying down on the park benches.
Right.
So, that kind of thing.
It's so funny.
What do you think about it? You think it's a good idea?
Yeah, of course.
Well, there are people that complain.
I mean,
about
look,
it.
I'm a big fan of behavioral architecture and choice architecture, behavioral design.
Even if it's against humans.
Yeah, of course.
Spoken like a true behavioral economist.
Oh, yeah. Just let them do whatever they want.
Well, the lean bars, by the way, people in wheelchairs have complained. No, not people in wheelchairs. People who with disabilities complain about them because they can't use them and it's hard for them to stand and lean on something.
Okay, well, you have to do it, in a reasonable manner. I think there are. I think there are ways to
anti-homeless
accomplish
people too.
Anti-homeless people.
Well, not sleeping on a park bench, making benches uncomfortable. Now, I have a question for you.
Well, hold on.
What? Well, I mean, why have a bench if it's uncomfortable? Sometimes they make the backs of the bench literally uncomfortable, so you won't sit there very long. Like, is that a good thing to do? I don't know.
Well, how many you can't have unlimited park benches.
Okay, but so you should make them uncomfortable? It's a question. All right, I have a question for you, though. How would you use this like that? These are all physical examples. Like barriers, concrete barriers, so people can't walk a certain way. That kind of thing. What can you think of a more tech or online example?
Yeah, sure. Of course I can.
Like what? If you say yes, I'm going to ask for an example.
Yeah. So I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I have in mind here? So it's like you got something someone's trying to accomplish, but you don't want to make it too easy.
Why?
Well, because then they would just do that thing all the time.
Do you have an example?
I mean games, but that's different.
Well,
is there a good tech example of making things uncomfortable so that people
won't do it as much? I mean,
yes.
All right. What?
Yes. So for example, here's one for you. When you have let's say you're moving to a new software suite.
Yes.
Okay? You
Yes.
like where this is headed?
I don't know where it's headed.
You're moving to a new software suite and you're trying to encourage everyone to get on the new stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what you do is you put an annoying banner being
on
like
the old stuff.
Upgrade now. Right? Or every time you click, you have to say, okay, I accept.
I have to do an extra
I need the
click.
patches.
Yeah, I have to click the box to say no, keep the old one. I have to do more work to keep the old one. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's an example.
Yeah, you like that?
Well, I don't like it, but I don't like the idea of it, but it is an example. Yeah. Yeah. So defensive design. It wasn't new to me, but I guess I didn't know that it really had a name and was a thing. So do you think we should have an online course on how to do defensive design? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think choice architecture
is just really what it is.
Yes.
It's just not the obvious way I usually think of choice architecture. Okay. So anyway, that's a thing. Defensive design.
Right.
I haven't seen anyone put that on their resume, expert in defensive design, but
no, I mean, I do think it's interesting, and I think it's useful to think about things in that context.
Why?
Well, because if you're gonna go do something like that, if you're going to decide that, hey, we want we want things a certain way, a lot of times, we do focus on, hey, we want to make things better for people, but sometimes
we want to discourage.
Sometimes you have to in order to make things better for everyone, they have to be worse for someone.
That's interesting.
The greater good.
That's interesting.
And in tech, where it's so consumerist.
Yeah.
So often, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Consumer focused, that I think we lose sight of some of the more important things that are actually required that
a consumer might not like.
That a consumer might not like. Yes.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
It's kind of a dilemma in my mind, but
in what way is it a dilemma?
I'm just thinking about I don't know. Somehow it seems sneaky. I know.
Oh, yeah, and like having Facebook have a little notification pop up that said, 3 of your friends have birthdays today. Wish them happy birthday.
No, you're
is
right.
not sneaky.
I guess it's as manipulative. I guess it is.
I mean,
I'm just thinking about I recently, as you know, I had a lightning strike, and it zapped my. Well, it wasn't that recent, but it was such a traumatic event. It seems recent.
It didn't strike you.
No. It struck. So no, I should finish the sentence. I was not struck by.
You're
lightning.
I had a lightning strike.
outside of my office window, and it went through and kind of killed my modem and killed my router, and actually killed the Ethernet connection on my motherboard. Anyway, in trying to get the router fixed, company that shall remain nameless, they didn't want to talk to you on the phone. Like, they did everything they could in defensive design to make it impossible for you to call in.
Oh, this is a much better example. Yeah, give me so elaborate on this.
Well, you would go to their website, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking for a phone number, and they even said, call us, but didn't give a phone number. Like, how can you say call us and then there not be a phone number? Like, obviously you really don't want people to call. And you had to go you had to work for 10 minutes to just get the phone number. And then, of course, once you got the phone number, you couldn't ever reach anyone that could help you with your situation. I mean, it was a lot. I actually have blocked a lot of the details from my mind because it was so traumatic about trying to get hold of these people. And really, you could just tell the goal was to be so discouraging that you would give up.
Yeah.
Because that they really don't want the call volume,
Right. And that's the call volume. That's actually a very good point. We've come across a number of companies who have, and asking, because the reality is, they don't want people to call into customer support.
No.
And some of the good design, right, is to, okay, well, if your website has the resources, right, that available, in an easy to whatever fashion.
Yeah,
right?
If you have a support site and you have a knowledge base and people can
so
find an answer online.
Or people are not confused in the first place about what your product is. There are
positive, not defensive design, but positive design things.
Right. Whereas...
Yeah, they were definitely doing defensive design, but I just didn't know at the time.
Once you get past that, I mean, there's a middle level manager who's...
It was horrible, yeah.
Whose whole job is to make sure people can't, just keep call volume down, right?
Yeah.
This is your assigned duty.
Yeah.
Right? And the best way to do that is to make it really horrible and annoying and have a way. I mean, is there any legislation that would prohibit a company from just having a call wait of forever?
No, I don't know of any.
Not that I know of.
No. All right. Shall we move on to our next topic?
Ooh, that was short but sweet.
Was it short? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
didn't
short.
think it was that short.
It was pretty short.
All right, let's move on. I'm tired of it. All right. What came across my desk? Have you seen this? It's this black thing, little black box, kind of the size of a small smartphone, and it has like buttons on it to press and swipe, but it doesn't do anything.
You know, I vaguely remember this. I don't know if anyone's actually purchasing this. Might just be like a gimme thing that people are like it's a news story because it's like, oh, people are so frustrated with technology that now they're turning to blah blah blah. But like in reality, like it's not actually like a thing that people.
Like you can't actually buy it.
Well, you can buy it, but like no one is because it would be dumb. But I don't know. Maybe it's flying off the shelves. I remember seeing it, but my impression was that it was more
Stupid
like
story of the day.
not stupid, but just like a sensationalist story, right? It's being like, you know, isn't this, you know, things are so tough, blah blah blah, that people have to resort to blah blah blah, as like a way to push their.
Supposedly, from what I remember reading about it, it was for people who are trying not to use their smartphone so much, you know, because people are concerned about it becoming addicted to their smartphones, or you know, not being able to turn off their digital life and so on. So they're like, you know, turning off their phones and spending time without the phone. But then we're so used to the physical, tactile, haptic sensations that we actually get agitated. And this is like worry beads, you know. It's supposed to help you deal with the withdrawal of not having your device.
Well, there's a lot of devices like that, right? Rosary stuff.
Worry beads, yeah. There's actually there's another term, I don't remember what it is, for like, it's like a rosary, but it's not a Catholic rosary. It's just a string of beads that you use. So, are you a fidgety kind of person with that? Would you like that? I'm a very fidgety person.
No. If I'm gonna fidget with something, I'll fidget with my real phone.
But the phone you have, because I happen to know what phone you have, because it's actually the same phone I have, doesn't have very many real buttons.
Why would I need real buttons?
And didn't you turn off the haptic setting on your phone?
Yes,
I love the haptic setting on my phone.
No, I'm very very sensitive to that.
To haptics?
Yeah.
So haptics are, you know, the sense of touch, like actually feeling something. So do all Android phones do this, or just the ones we have? Have that option?
Probably all Android phones.
So when you press something on the screen, how would you even describe that feeling? It's an unusual feeling, because it's not really like, you don't feel like you've pressed in a button, but you feel something. And I love it.
It's a little vibration.
I like it. And you have it turned off, you can't stand it. But I'm also a very fidgety person. Like if I'm sitting you've sat next to me at conferences. I'm like
You are an incredibly fidgety person.
I'm like the person you don't want in your audience.
Yeah.
Because I can't sit still. I'm fidgeting physically. I'm like playing with pens and paper and talking and on my phone and on the computer. I'm bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this idea of a little black thing that's kind of like a phone and buttons you can push. I don't know, if it weren't too expensive, I might buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, you know, I guess we're not going to go backwards, but and I really wonder when we get to the point of like driverless cars, you know, what are we going to do? Are we going to have like I don't know if they had these when you were growing up. When I was growing up, or maybe later, there were these pretend steering wheels for children. Like you'd put them in their car seat and then they'd have a steering wheel that they could, turn and press buttons on and stuff.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
Not particularly.
So that the little kid can, the toddler can pretend they're driving when you're in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought those were great. So are we going to do that in driverless cars? Like have a little toy steering wheel for the human?
Why not?
And then the human could turn on the turn signal and could pretend brake and pretend steer. I mean, I wonder if we're going to end up like giving people dummy things to physically do, because we're going to get to the point where we're just sitting there. We are just sitting there.
What's wrong with that?
And all our devices are doing everything for us. And this is like from WALL-E. Remember those scenes in WALL-E where the humans were just sitting around? I really wonder about that. I really wonder if that's where we're going to be, and if that's a good thing, and if we're going to have some kind of retro throwback where people, backlash, and people.
I mean, maybe
people want a rotary phone, because they want to dial.
That's a little extreme.
I really wonder if some of I wonder. There might be something there. You might want to think about that as a, to make a lot of money.
So, I mean, hey.
What?
I know people who there is a bunch of people who like tactile things.
Yes.
So there's a whole industry based on tactile. So things that are really printed, fidget spinners.
Yeah.
High quality wooden furniture. I mean, there's a whole universe of, we really, we want things to hold up. And be real and touch them in the real world.
Yeah. So I could be right here. This could be a trend.
Could be. Could
I wonder,
also not be.
I wonder if it would be a trend for younger people or older people, or it's just really more how haptic you are.
That's also a good question.
That'll become a trendy thing that young people will want to do, that the older people will say, well, I remember when that was really the way everybody did it. Or will this be the old people want it because, they don't want to give up what they had before in physical objects?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, when you were growing up, there was a...
You mean back in the 90s?
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
There was a technology that was coming to fruition.
There was?
Yeah, but pick whichever.
Oh, what technology was coming to fruition?
Right? And there was I'm sure whatever it was, I'm sure there was a backlash against that.
Yeah.
And people saying this is not how, we need to be living in the real world. And right? It wasn't, and there was a whole thing of like communes and like living off the land and like back to nature.
Well, some of which has stuck.
I'm not saying it's stuck. I don't think it ever particularly went away.
Some of it has become more popular, let's say. So the whole...
Has it become more popular? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's a good point. I don't
know. But all I'm saying is that, it's not exactly as if...
we give it all up all the time.
It's not... I'm trying to say that, it kind of feels like this is like this is part of the kind of human whatever. Like there's always gonna it's like 8%, 15, 12% of the population wants to go live like people lived in the whatever prior time.
Okay.
Right? And so like whatever it is,
there's always some group of people that wants to go do that.
Mm-hmm. That's
and I'm not, but I don't know that I'm saying go live in the prior time. I guess I'm more saying
it's not so much live, but right, but like there are things that we in modern society are now missing out. And it's like the tactility of reading from a real book versus a Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be a certain percentage of people who will go, oh, woe is us. We should, we're missing out on the quality of things that once were. And then, of course, and then there's the inverse.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that a particular person tends to be someone who misses the past, or do you think it's dependent more on the particular piece of technology than it is on a personality trait?
I think it's more on a particular. I think there are pods. I think there are groups of people who kind of think in the same way. If that makes sense.
About a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for example, I kind of feel like so people who might be more traditional.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, so like weddings are a perfect example. There are, less traditional people would just send out an electronic invite.
Yeah.
Right? And they have it's a non-traditional wedding, right? It's a big party. Or, they have vows and stuff, but blah, blah, blah. Versus, someone, like a very traditional.
Well, I was just recently talking to someone who is about, is a millennial, similar age as you. And we were discussing someone else who had sent out an electronic wedding invitation.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so derisive of that. She could not believe. She's like, I understand sending out an electronic save the date, but I do not understand how she could possibly send out an electronic wedding invitation.
Exactly.
Which I found real. To me that was like, what?
And you are not exactly traditional.
No, I'm not.
And then there's the levels of that, right? So by traditional wedding invitation, it's not just like you get a postcard in the mail, like a fancy one with like a letterpressed this and a ribbon that, and like there are various levels where it's all about having something real and tactile, and
interesting.
There's like a whole thing. And the same would hold true for there's a certain segment of people who believe you need to be like outside and like be alone in nature and just like experience the forest. And there's a certain segment of people who think that that when you are experiencing art, it can't be an electronic. You need to you have to use like all your senses. So whether that's reading a book or seeing a play or a concert in person, that there's no substitute for the experience of all the senses working together. So I think there will always be these things that are popular.
But I'm going to predict. Can I predict something?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to predict that the more electronic we go and the less physical, the more desire there is for haptic.
That's interesting. Well,
that's what I think. So I think we're going to see haptic stuff built. I think the Android option is a perfect example. I think we're going to see more haptic options built into places where they actually aren't necessary. Like there's no need for a haptic feedback when you press the Android button, except that some humans like it. And I think we're going to see more.
No. Well, I disagree with that.
Why?
So the original haptic our phones do not have dedicated buttons.
Right.
But it's so to
no,
allow.
no. What?
I'm just teased. Sorry, everyone. But it's like I get what you're saying. I was trying to say that there are uses, when you're in your pocket and you're not looking at it, so the haptic feedback is...
Yeah, but I think that I think that we're going to see more haptic feedback that doesn't have any actual use except it's haptic.
Oh, you think there's going to be like bad design somewhere?
Very funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
let's go on. I got it. I almost didn't get it.
Yeah.
I almost responded. All right, I'm ready to go on to the next in the news.
Oh
topic.
yeah, I didn't. You have like such a. This is
a plethora.
Yeah.
You didn't realize I had so many.
No, I had no idea.
Okay, I have another one. In the news. You know about the Facebook algorithm alert about suicide?
Oh, I believe I've heard of this. Is this real or is this a debated thing?
No, what? It's real.
Okay, well, there were a lot of things where someone's like, we're thinking about rolling this out, and then there are like things that they're like they're like thought pieces and reporting,
No,
and I didn't know
I'm
if this was a
pretty
thought
sure
piece.
this is real.
Okay.
And Europe has banned it. So it's not being done on Facebook in Europe. Now, I don't know if that means Facebook accounts based in Europe or when you're visiting Europe or, like I'm going to be in Belgium. Does that mean that? Well, anyway, I should explain what it is in case, in case someone hasn't come across this. So the idea is that Facebook, you might be surprised to know, Guthrie, that Facebook is monitoring your posts and your feed and what people say back to you. Did you know that?
Yeah, I just assumed that they do everything.
I know, I was being sarcastic.
Some people, that's probably not.
Some people may not realize that.
Yeah.
So they are going to be looking for certain posts that would indicate that you might be suicidal.
Okay.
Do you know how they do that? What would that be, by the way? Besides, you write the word "I'm suicidal."
Oh, I'm not even going. I mean, I could take some stabs in the dark, but they'd be
stabs in the dark.
Very bad stabs.
Well, for instance, if I post on if I post to you, "Are you okay?" That will alert the Facebook suicide algorithm. So and I don't know how the algorithm works or what's in it, but if there's enough people asking you if you're okay or saying other things and you saying other things, then they will decide that it's a possible suicide alert. Now, I must admit that I didn't read this in enough detail to know what they do after do they then send you a feed on how wonderful life is, or can you look this up? What do they do? If they determine that they think you're going to kill yourself.
No, I have no idea.
Oh, I should have looked that up before we talked about it. Should I look it up now?
If you'd like.
I'm going to go look it up here. But interestingly, of course, in Europe, and I know we have a bunch of listeners from Europe, they're not going to let Facebook do this because they think it's it's an invasion of privacy to be. I don't know what they think is the invasion of privacy, though, because, does Facebook not collect the same information on Europe accounts as it does on U.S. accounts?
Oh, probably. They have a lot more regulation when it comes to internet privacy stuff over there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pretend to know all the ins and outs of it.
Okay.
So.
All right. Here, I'm looking up this article, which is in Wired. So they're doing this. They're scanning posts for suicidal ideation everywhere in the world except Europe. They use a pattern recognition system to watch for troubling comments in user posts and videos, such as "Are you okay?" Oh, here's what they do. I did read this. I do remember this now. If they see that, they pass your details on to emergency responders to intervene. Does this mean like someone's going to show up at your door?
I don't know. It's very weird. There's
like the ambulance will show up?
Paternal Facebook has always been like, right, where they're like, we're on your side, but we're Facebook, but we're being like, we care. I've never really known how to feel about that. I mean, they've been doing it for a while with the whole after like a calamity, you can mark yourself as safe. I don't know. I think it's
yeah.
I think that the biggest problem Facebook has is that people do not post enough on Facebook about their life. I think that it's kind of a fun thing, but it's probably going to miss the mark most of the time. So
You're not saying the suicide alert is a fun thing.
No, it's just like a side, but not by fun, but as in like literal fun, but like as a side project. Like I don't think they're actually investing like a lot of resources into this. I bet that it's probably just like if you write a post that's like you said, I'm gonna commit suicide, then they forward you on, and if people say, "Are you all right?" then it maybe it flags you. But I don't think it's like gleaning deep insights into the depressed states of people as much as it might sound. Just my guess.
Now,
I could be wrong.
What did you mean when you said the problem with Facebook is that people are not posting enough?
Because so let's if there are going to be posts that exist that Facebook can mark as this is clearly like a suicidal tendency. Their algorithms know that.
Yeah.
The problem is that if you were really doing it right, then you need to monitor them across multiple channels and platforms.
Yeah.
And know what they were posting and what videos they were watching.
Yeah.
And then follow that up with like Google would be in a much better position to do it where you get the identities of people who've committed suicide, cross-reference that with their Google search history and Instagram posts, and there's a whole. Now maybe Facebook, the fact that Facebook does own Instagram and WhatsApp, if you were invested in those platforms, does give that a little more credence.
Yeah.
For sure. So maybe they're combining all of their sources. So I think they usually segment a decent amount. The point is that they definitely I don't think okay, so because I just don't post very much on Facebook anymore. It's not in a previous world. I was I'd be posting to Facebook, multiple times a day, and statuses and pictures and friends and I'm sure that if with enough data, Facebook could definitely do it. That would be just an amazing. It would just be really, really amazing. Where they could tell that you post drop off and. You have an angry post to someone where you burst out, and then there's a drop off period, and they're there are just things around that their algorithms could do to make it work, but it requires a lot of data, and I'm not sure it's data that they all have. That's all.
So Facebook has changed a lot over time, and even just in the last, year or two, and you don't use it a lot, so maybe you haven't noticed this much.
I mean, I use it, I should say, I use it almost every day. I don't ever post anything, but I do like to check it. I wish people happy birthday. I use Facebook Messenger to communicate with a number of different people. I use Instagram every day. So I use WhatsApp often. So I'm not like the heaviest of users, but I am in the universe.
You're in the Facebook family.
I prefer not to be described like that, but
but it's, I mean, Facebook, and I don't know if this is just something I'm doing that's affecting the algorithm, but I'm guessing not. My feed on Facebook used to be, 90% of the feed was people I personally know, and now 90% of the feed is not people or organizations I personally know.
That you're friends with?
No, I just get all kinds of stuff in my feed that I've never asked for, and I don't know these people, and I don't know why I'm getting the feed. And
okay,
I'm
this
constantly
is
saying,
a problem with you.
Hide this and unfollow this.
Okay.
This is really? This isn't true. This isn't the experience everyone's having? I mean,
I'm looking at my feed right now. No, these are the only posts I have are friends of mine. So
seriously?
Yeah, your Facebook's probably like hacked or something.
We're gonna have to talk.
Or people to share posts from everything, but it's like.
But it's still, you can trace it back to someone you know.
Yeah, someone got tagged in it. There's an engagement photo that of people I know.
I wonder if it just has to do with the fact that, like, how many friends on Facebook do you have?
No, Facebook. The Facebook feed does not. I'm pretty sure they don't.
Yeah, what? I must have some weird setting somewhere that says "feed me junk."
Yeah.
I must have checked the "feed me things from everyone, no matter how relevant it is" box.
Yeah, no, that definitely
doesn't sound right.
No,
okay.
Not at all.
Well, the next time we're together, or maybe we could go. I can share my screen and you can help me with my settings, because I don't know. I assumed it was because I don't have enough friends, and that it was just trying to fill up my box with. Or maybe it's because I'm so desirable as a, profile, that all of these companies' ads are targeted to me. I somehow I don't.
Well,
think
I mean, there are ads.
Yeah.
Are these ads?
No, these are actually like feeds. These are feeds. All right.
Okay,
we'll deal with this offline.
We don't know how to use Facebook. I understand now.
We won't bore our listeners anymore with my woes about the fact that I don't know how to use Facebook. All right.
No. Facebook hasn't completely changed their identity. Your Facebook.
I thought they had.
No.
I thought they had totally changed the way they
maybe
were doing
I'm wrong,
things.
and when I set the setting to only show people in my whatevers, and I just have ignored it, but I don't think that's the case.
I'm going to have to check. Obviously, I haven't worked on my settings in a while. Yeah. I think that's what it is. That's pretty funny, isn't it?
That's very funny. Okay, do you have more news events?
I have one more.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
The camera, is it the Google camera?
I don't. I don't know. It's your story.
Shoot.
Why would I?
The camera that you put in your house, and it decides when to take pictures.
Okay, so there is. Fortunately, I know.
Oh, what is it?
What I'm talking about. Oh my God, you're too funny. So there's a new Google camera.
It is a Google camera.
Yes, but it's not called Google Camera.
No.
I think it's called Google Snaps.
Okay.
And it uses AI, and it doesn't upload anything to the cloud, but it's AI on a piece of hardware.
I've heard that before.
And then it takes pictures when you're ready to take pictures.
Well, it decides when to take pictures.
Right.
And it takes pictures, and then it uploads it to somewhere where you can look at the pictures, but not through the cloud. And so it's deciding what's picture worthy. What do you think about this?
Well, the Amazon came out with one too using AWS. So.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
They came up with a new class of product. I don't know how else to say it. That doesn't happen every day, that you get a new product segment. And they did it. So that's really cool.
Why do you think it's a new product segment? I mean, it's a camera.
It's not a camera. No one's taking the pictures. How's,
All right. So this brings me to. So are you comfortable? Do you really think that their pictures aren't on the cloud? Would you have one of these in your home?
No. But
why not?
What? Oh, because it's definitely not actually, like, that's not. Whatever. The privacy thing is obviously creepy. Where there's a thing that takes pictures of you and your loved ones all the time. Like,
So you think it's brilliant yet creepy?
Yes, that's okay.
So you would not have one in your home?
I don't look. I would think about it. You're asking me all these big questions. I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't buy one because I don't have money to spend on stuff like that. But as a product,
yeah,
I think it's really, really, really smart. There's a huge problem where you're at an event, and then there's the person who needs to take the pictures, and no one wants to take the pictures, but everyone wants pictures of the event, and then the person who takes the pictures doesn't get to be in a picture. So you do the restaurant. Oh, can you get the server to take it? Oh, thank you. Or you have I know.
We've talked about the fact that I'm in the process of cataloging all of my digital and physical photos. A job I think you suggested to me just so I would leave you alone because I'd be so busy doing it for the next 20 years that I wouldn't have time to bother you about anything.
By the way, while you were busy scanning pictures, I doubled my salary. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Okay, good. But
yeah. So
wait. But what I wanted to say was, as I've been cataloging this, there are like 0.001% of the pictures have my husband in them because he's the photographer in the family.
Yeah. So he's always he's never actually in it.
He's never in the picture. So I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah, and this is, I think this is a so the fact that you can just put this up and you can have and the classic example is you're making pancakes with your adorable kid and your dog. Right? And your hands are covered in flour, but you want pictures of the fun time you have with your family. This is like the little thing that they did. Okay?
And supposedly it will make better decisions about what to take a picture of than you would.
No. But it will make decisions about when to take a picture. I don't think they'll make better decisions. I think it will get but it is smart. That's an overreach.
They're implying they would make better decisions.
No. But it's not just it takes it every 30 seconds. It's not a time lapse, right? It waits until it knows when the kid blows out the candles,
right?
Then take the picture.
Yeah.
So it's using smart AI.
All right, but we now have a copyright legal problem, which I would think.
Oh, smart! I like this.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't bring this up, being the lawyer. So about the gorilla, right?
Wasn't a gorilla. Was it a gorilla? I didn't think.
Oh, it wasn't a gorilla. It was a monkey. You know about the monkey case?
Yes, and I really don't want to Can you do the monkey case
quickly?
Briefly?
Okay. A guy took pictures of the monkey. Took pictures of monkeys out in the wild, but in order to get good pictures, he put the camera out and put a remote clicker, and then he backed away. So the monkeys ended up taking pictures of themselves. They took selfies essentially, and then later PETA whatever that stands for.
Hold on. The way copyright works when it comes to pictures is it's not the subject who is the owner of the copyright. Copyright you don't need to apply for. It automatically just exists at the time of the creation of the writing. So if you write a poem right now and you never show anyone else, you have a copyright backed by the U.S. government on what you've created.
Thank you.
Happens automatically. When it comes to pictures, whoever clicks the button, took the picture, owns the copyright of the picture. It has nothing to do with what the subject is.
So they argued that the monkey owned the picture.
Yeah, well, in this case, no one took the picture, right?
Right.
The only person who took the picture was the monkey.
Right.
Monkeys do not have rights under the Constitution.
Well, but there
are laws that stop animal cruelty.
Well, but they took it to court to say that the monkey did have rights.
Well, it says PETA found this like beautiful little legal loophole, right. And that if the monkey doesn't have the rights, then who has the rights?
And it got appealed, and then it got settled. But anyway, my question is:
oh, it got settled?
It did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The guy, the photographer.
So it's a very interesting case. And
but
so you're
my
asking
question
then who owns
is,
the copyright to these photos?
Yeah, that's right.
When they're taken by AI.
That's right. That's my question. Do you have an answer? Does anyone have an answer? Somebody must be thinking about this.
Bueller.
Huh?
I said Bueller. It was a joke.
Oh. So yeah. So that's my question. You don't have to answer it right now, but I think it's an issue.
Oh, that's a really good question. I'll have to ask around. I think I know some copyright people.
Ask around, and then in another podcast episode, you can let us know what you found out. All right?
No.
Because I really want to know.
I feel like that's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Really? Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah. Does AI have rights? Because if the monkey case taught us anything, it was basically that, there are certain segments that, what kind of rights can someone have? And I think that's a fascinating discussion because AI is going to create a patent to something.
Hey, I am so glad I came up with something that you consider a fascinating discussion. I'm pleased. That made my day. It made my week. Might make my month.
Tough, am I?
You're pretty tough. Yeah. All right, Guthrie, we've managed to use up all of our allotted time, and it's time to say goodbye. If someone wants to reach us or write into us, email us about whether they have one of these cameras or whether they want to buy one of the fake iPhones with the buttons or anything else, or whether they've been doing defensive design, where do they contact us?
info@theteamw.com.
All right. Hey, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.